Hello and welcome. It's Alfred again. I'm going to be here giving you another Google Suite class tutorial or presentation about Google Slides. I'm going to go over what we do in class together, so if you happen to miss the class or want to review what we tried to do in class related to Google Slides, the presentation program, feel free to watch this video. We're going to create a presentation, add images to it, and add movement and animations and such, so it's going to be really fun. So I'm going to do what I usually do is I'm going to open Google Chrome. I'm going to get to the file that contains some of the instructions and some of the information that we'll go over about Google Slides, and I'll start building the actual presentation that we do. So if you need to access the file, it's at bit.ly/g slides clpres. I will pass that link out to you at some point in time, so you don't really have to remember it, but if you need to write it down, you always can. So I'm going to close the outline panel here, and now I'm going to do what I normally do is I'm going to get another window so I can have my workspace next to the instructions. So I'm going to go to the three dots up there in Chrome, and I'm now going to click New Window, not New Tab, but New Window. And I'm now going to slide this window off to the side. On a Windows machine, when I do that, it snaps to half the screen. I can click the other one. I can point to the dividing line. I want to make my workspace a little bit larger than my reading space. Just tends to be a little bit easier way to do it. I'm just going to look here briefly to make sure I can still read all the instructions pretty much. I can pretty much do it. I think I might zoom out slightly by going here to View, Zoom, and I'm going to go to, say, 90%. I think I can still read that okay. Workspace being a little bit bigger is going to be a little bit better. I think we're ready to roll here. So Google Slides. Overview of Google Slides. Google Slides is one of the apps in the Google Suite. And as a reminder, I'm not going to read every single word here because you have access to this file so you can kind of read it on your own. I just want to gloss over quite a bit of the wording and then do my best to help you with the instructions to really get started on how to do things. So Google Slides is one of the apps in the Google Suite. We've now covered Drive, Docs, Sheets. This is our next app, technically the fourth, but Slides, the presentation program. So with Google Slides, you can create engaging and dynamic presentations. Presentations are also known as slideshows or slide decks. You're hearing this new terminology. Check out my slide deck. It's really cool, but they're basically all the same thing, just slides of information that you want to present to either somebody or someone, whatever it may be. Just like with the other apps, you never have to save your files. Although it's saving constantly, you have to be sure to name it. So be sure to always name it, and do recall that the power of the whole Google Suite in general is the ability to add collaborators to your work. So you want to be able to share it. So we'll get to sharing, of course, near the end of this when we start to create things. So the Google Slides screen, just like with the other apps we've been covering, I decided to put a picture in here, kind of defining the overall screen. You'll notice lots of similarities to the other apps that we've used. The app opens on its own tab, so the close button to close the file is closing the tab. As usual, there's a Slides home button. The other apps have had a home button that gets you to the template screen to open other presentations you may have and use templates. There's the untitled presentation box, which is the file name box. The file name box is where we can name the file, of course. And of course, when you click in there, you'll also see a folder or whatever where you can change the location of files. Similarly, we have a menu bar, which all the apps have had so far. We have a toolbar underneath there. Of course, it's going to have different icons because this is a presentation program. There is a present button in the upper right. That's new and different. The share button's been around in all the apps we've done. So present is when you're ready to present it to a real live audience. The hide menu button's been there. Now where we get a couple of different ones is we get what's called a slides panel. The slides panel will show small versions of each slide of your presentation. You get the slide in the middle area here. This is the slide area. In the slide area, you have little boxes where you can type. Those are called placeholders. We'll get to that. And then you get a right panel on the side. The right panel is open based upon certain activities that you're doing. We experienced a right panel when we inserted images into a Google Doc. So those who did the Google Doc stuff, a right panel opened on the side for us to search for a picture to add in. There's also something called an Explore button, and the Explore button allows you to get different layouts and cool ways to make a slide look based upon things that Google Slides suggests automatically. So it's a fast, easy way to make a slide look a little different without you doing a lot of work. What I didn't put in there, which can be useful, is there's a very area at the bottom here where it says click to add speaker notes. That's for you as the presenter if you want to make little notes to yourself. So excuse me. So as we move on, there's a little more description of each of those things I wanted to go over, but I didn't want to navigate away from the picture, so I could just kind of talk about it as I did it. So creating a Google Slides presentation, it's basically the same as the other apps that we've done, Docs and Sheets. You could do it either through Google Drive, get into the folder where you want it to be in your Google Drive, go to the New button, choose Google Slide, or point to the arrow, choose From Template or New Presentation. The other way to do it is go straight to the Slides website, which is slides.google.com. The one thing that's mentioned here in the creating a Google Slides presentation is when you first get into your Google Slides screen, the right panel will open up with what they call themes. So themes are built-in designs that control the font size, and colors on the slides. The theme should complement the presentation and never distract the audience. So kind of remember who you're building your presentation for will help you choose the theme. Anybody who's done PowerPoint, similar ideas, but PowerPoint has a lot more themes, a lot more bells and whistles. Google Slides purposefully, in my opinion, keeps things more simplistic and minimalistic because we want things to focus on the content, and a lot of what PowerPoint can do is actually take away from the content. So it's more minimalist, less there than you'd find in PowerPoint, but a lot of similarity. Google Slides can open PowerPoint presentations. You can also download a Google Slide presentation into PowerPoint format. So we learn how to do that in our later lessons. You're also going to learn that slides use a layout. So even theme regardless, theme is more of the beauty, but slides always use what we call layouts, which determine how many boxes are already on the slide for you to click and type in those boxes. So there's a layout for just title only. There's a title for a layout for title and a subtitle. There's a layout for title and body, they call it, I think, or title and text boxes is what they call it. I'm used to PowerPoint, so sometimes mix the terminology up there. So without further ado, we're going to do Grow Your Skills 4.1, creating the Google Apps Suite presentation. So we're going to create a presentation. We're going to name it Google Apps Suite. We're going to make a bunch of slides for each of the apps that we kind of cover in the course. Step number 1, if necessary, open your web browser. Well, I already have it open here, but I need to get over to drive.google.com. Step number 2, click in the address bar and go to drive.google.com. So it's drive.google.com. I'm going to click Go to Drive. I'm going to put in the email address for the account that I'm using for this. And the password should be so now I'm into my Drive. That was step 3, sign in if needed. Step 4, double-click your Google Suite class folder. Double-click your Slides folder. That's step 5. Step 6, click the New button. And step 7 says click Google Slides. Remember, you have to click Create and Share because we shared this folder. Some of you might not be asked that if you never shared your folder. Step number 8, in the Themes pane, this is the Themes pane, I ask you to click the Momentum theme. You can really choose any theme you like, but if you want to keep it consistent to what it looks like when I do it and how you're going to do it, it's best if you choose the same theme. And you'll notice the name is underneath it, Momentum. I click it once. That's going to help dictate a little bit of the color that's on the slides, the font that's in use, a whole bunch of things like that. I'm going to close the Themes panel just to make this a little bit bigger for you to see. Okay. Step 9 says click in the title box and type Google Apps Suite. And then step number 10 says click in the subtitle box where it says click to add subtitle and type a few of Google's web apps. By, and then put your name. You can put your first and last name, nickname, whatever you want. It really doesn't matter to me. Step number 11 is we want to name the file now, so click in the file name box in the upper left where it says Untitled Presentation and type Google Apps Suite, which it already suggested, so we don't actually have to type this. Remember, Sheets was the only one that doesn't self-suggest for you. And you can just kind of click away from there, press the Enter key, whatever you want to do. Now, when we want to add more slides, all we need to do is step 12. Click the New Slide button to add a new slide. Now, be careful. Don't click the arrow. Just click the plus. If you click the arrow, you're forced to choose the layout at the same time that you insert the slide, which is a good thing. But we just want to let Google Slides for right now choose our layout for each slide because it's going to fit what we're doing. So I'm going to click it. Step 13 says click in the title box on the slide where it says click to add title and type Google Apps. So we'll just type Google Apps and then no enter key or anything. Step 14, I'm going to do that typing real quick. I'm going to click on the slide in the main placeholder where it says click to add text. I'm going to type docs, sheets, slides. And I'm going to fix my typo real quick. Okay, so now I'm going to add some more slides. So we're basically just be adding more slides following the pattern of clicking the plus, click in the title box, typing what the title says, and then typing the text in. So I'm now going to do step 15. I'm going to click the plus again. New slides always come after the current slide, and they match the layout of the slide before it. Step 16, I'm going to click in the title box and I'm going to type Google Docs. And then I'm going to click in the click to add text box and I'm just pressing enter after each paragraph. So I'm just going to try to type this as fast as I can for you. Now I'm going to be on step 18. I'm going to click the new slide button. I'm going to do step 19, click in the title box. This one is Google Sheets. I'm going to do step 20, click in the add text box and do the typing. So I just fixed a couple of errors there by right-clicking the red underlines and choosing a suggestion from it, or I could just click and do my normal editing. That now puts me on step 21. I'm just going to be building more slides by doing new slide. So I'll remind you of each step as I do that. Step 21, click new slide by clicking the plus. Step 22, I'm going to click in the title box. This one's going to be Google Slides. 23 is to click in the text box and do the typing in that step. Now, I didn't mention it earlier, but I probably should have, or even had this in the steps, is since these slides are kind of very similar to each other, if you ever right-click a slide in the slides panel on the left, you can actually duplicate a slide. So if you find yourself setting up a slide that you want to be able to kind of use as a model for the other slides, duplicating a slide is a pretty easy way to do that. So I should have put in the instructions now that I think of it, that the slides are very similar to each other. It's one of the few times that I could have used it. So feel free to use that if it helps you. But of course you have to go in and change wording, but some of the wording is the same, like automatically save files and share and collaborate has been kind of an overlap on some of these. So, and the export, but then you have small things to change. So I wasn't sure if it's faster or slower, to be quite honest. Step 24, I'm going to do the new slide again. This time in the title, it's Google Forms. I'm going to click in the text box and then type what it says in step 26. Putting me on step number 27, where I'm going to do the new slide button again. Step 28, in the title box, I'm going to click and type Gmail. Step 29, I'm going to do the typing for this particular slide. I'm now on step number 30. I'm going to click the new slide button to add another slide. 31, click in the title box, type Google Calendar. Step 32, I'm going to do the typing in the text box. So click in the text box and I have the typing to do. Okay, now I'm on step 33 where we're going to do something a little bit different when we add a slide because we want to change the layout. We're going to put a final slide here. So we're going to click the new slide menu arrow and choose section header. So that's step 33. Click this arrow this time and choose the one called section header. I'm going to click step 34. I'm going to click in the title box and I'm just going to type what the wording is there, which is any questions. Okay, so now you're going to learn how to present the presentation. Now, you're going to notice when I present, it's going to put me in full screen mode, so I won't be able to read anything that's in these steps or instructions here. So you just kind of want to listen, but to advance your slides forward, you can click your mouse once. You can use the right arrow on the keyboard, the space bar, or the enter key. If you have to go backwards on your presentation, you can press backspace or the left arrow. And to get out of presenting, which means when you're presenting, you're talking to your live audience. That's why it goes full screen. When you're presenting to your live audience, when you're done totally presenting to them, you can press the escape key on your keyboard. It's always the upper leftmost key on your keyboard. So I'm going to present real quick and just run through the presentation. But what step 34 wants you to do in order to present is you're going to point to the present menu arrow. So whenever we say menu arrow, it means an arrow, or menu button means arrow. And we want to choose present from beginning. As I mentioned, to go full screen. There's also a toolbar down here that shows up during presenting. Let me slide my picture a little bit out of the way. So I can also advance slides by clicking this little arrow here. I can have it play like a slideshow here. I can use this little tool as a pointer tool. If I click it, there's a pointer tool, but I have to click it to turn it off. So like I mentioned, to advance your slides, you just click once. Cool, here's my second slide. I would talk to people. Here's some of the Google apps, Docs, Sheets, etc. Google Docs, here's a little bit about Google Docs. You'd read it to them, maybe you'd talk about it, etc. And if you keep clicking, you can keep going through it. Like I mentioned, if you need to go backwards, you could do the left arrow or the up arrow. See, now I'm back to Sheets. You could also do the down arrow keys on your keyboard if you want to go forward. So I'm just going to keep clicking through to the end. There, I finally made it. If I click again, see, it doesn't do anything. It just stays stuck here. So to get out of this, you have to press your escape key. If you ever forget that, you can always right-click and choose exit full screen. Okay? See how it has the ESC, meaning it's the escape key that gets you out. Okay, so that's how you run a presentation. And I gave an option here in step 37 if you want to see what mine looks like, just in case yours didn't turn out quite right for some reason, you can see it. Okay. So sharing a Google Slides presentation. So we're not going to have a lot of typing from this point forward, so things should go quite a bit more smoothly and maybe a little bit faster for us. You can add collaborators to your slide show, essentially speaking, or your presentation by clicking the share button in the upper right corner. Collaborators are given access to your slide show, slide deck, whatever you like to call it, presentation. When giving access to your presentation, there are three types of access: editor, commenter, and viewer. So just like the other apps we did, there's three levels of access. Remember, an editor can do anything. A commenter just makes suggestions. They say, hey, I think you should change this, or blah, blah, blah. A viewer can only look at it. So this particular file over here, this Google Doc, you're a viewer on it. That's exactly how it's shared to you. So you're viewing it. You can't make any changes, but you can look at it. You can also make your own copy of it unless somebody blocks it. You can print it, whatever you need to do. Downloading into another format, we did that with the other apps, Docs and Sheets. In other words, sometimes you want to convert this to a format where maybe you think, because you don't want to share it with somebody, you want them to look at it, maybe you think they would prefer PowerPoint, maybe you prefer they just need paper-looking things like a PDF file. You can download it as PDF. Remember, if anytime you ever want to download, you just click File, point to Download, and choose the format you want it to be in. Okay? And what we're going to do now is we are going to go ahead and do Grow Your Skills 4.2, share and download the Google Apps Suite presentation as a PowerPoint. So we're going to share it and then download it. So I'm going to click the share button in the upper right. Step 2, type amiller BAS classes at Gmail. It's actually amillerbasclasses@gmail. And then step 3, click the editor drop down, change it to commenter. That's very important. A lot of people forget to do that. It's really easy just to type an email and click send. Oh my gosh, you just blew it, right? So you want to be careful there. So then you can just click send. So now it's shared. That particular individual, who happens to be me, has the ability to open it up and look at it. And I can even make comments in it back to you. Now we're going to download it into another format that you can add to the Canvas course if you're doing all the Canvas course with us stuff. If you want me to look at it, it's really great if you do. I'm hoping everybody will eventually be doing the Canvas stuff. It's the same exercises you're doing in class. It's just a way to get it to me without just sharing. Sharing is a great way to do it, but the Canvas course keeps it a little more official looking, things like that, because I can put grades in. And there's no way to share the Google slide to Canvas. So step 5, I'm going to click File. I'm going to go here to Download, and I'm going to point to Microsoft PowerPoint and click. As a reminder, it's going to download here in the bottom left. When it's all said and done, you're ready to start doing the Canvas stuff. So I'm going to get over to Canvas. I'm going to log in, and after that, I'm going to remind you how you submit it to the proper assignment. In this case, it's the first one in the Google Slides section. So I'm going to click the plus, because remember, I'm a fan of always going on to a new tab instead of leaving something that I'm planned to come back to. So the Canvas website is canvas.instructure. Oops, I spelled that wrong. .com. Then I put in the email that I'm using for this. This is just a practice student one that I have. Put in the password. And I'm just going to close that. I'm going to click the course, Google Suite in this particular case. I'm going to click Assignments on the left. As a reminder, sometimes when you come in, they're all listed in hodgepodge order, because that's here where it's done by show by date. I recommend you click show by type. That way it groups it by each subject that we learned together. And if you didn't know, if you ever click these gray things, it collapses them. So you have maybe a little bit less scrolling to do and less to look at to get confused by. This happens to be the Google Slides creating templates, downloading and sharing particular exercise or lesson. So I'm going to click this one. I'm going to click Submit Assignment. And actually, that I think about it, we are going to be doing a template here that I'd like you to upload. So I'm actually going to wait to submit this until we do the template here. So let me go back to my presentation here, and let's use a template. Okay. So templates, if you've done the docs and the sheets lessons with us. So once again, we're going to skip this 7th step here of actually uploading it to Canvas. I'll come back to that in just a minute after we do the template. Sorry about that. I'll take that instruction out so you'll be less confused. Remember, templates are a starting point of a presentation that give you a faster way to get your information in if you don't really know how to start. So what I'd like us to do is grow your skills 4.3. This is technically, oh no, this is 4.2, sorry. Actually, it should be 4.3, sorry. Don't worry about the numbering there, but that should be 4.3. I'm going to do a new tab, and I'm going to go to slides.google.com. Sign in if need be. It's not making me sign in. Step 4 is to click the portfolio template. If you don't see it, you have to go to the template gallery. So just as a reminder, you might have to click template gallery. You find one called portfolio. Go ahead and click it. It opens right up. Takes a tiny bit of time. But if you look at it, they've designed some pretty cool slides for you. The second slide is about you. The third slide shows this neat little graphic that you can change a little bit. This one, the 6th slide, has a pretty cool look to it. So they made kind of a cool little presentation that's kind of your own portfolio about yourself. So it's kind of a neat way that people are now doing things. It's kind of similar to that of a resume, but it complements their resume when they go in for interviews and such. Since it usually and always saves to your My Drive folder, we're now ready to move it. So that's step 5. The portfolio file is open, but it's currently saved in the My Drive folder. We're going to move it to the Slides folder by clicking this folder here. This is part of step 5. We're going to double click Google Suite Class. That's step 6. And also step 6 says to double click the Slides folder and click Move here. We're going to click Move because once again it's going to a shared folder. Now we're going to share this real quick just like we did a minute ago. Then we're going to download it into PowerPoint format and we'll add those two to the Canvas course. So let's do the share steps. Step 7, click the share button. Type in the A. Miller BASclasses@gmail email. Step number 9, click the editor drop down, choose commenter. Step 10, click send. We're now ready to download into PowerPoint format. Step 11, click File, point to download, slide over to PowerPoint. It's on its way. It's over there. Now I can go back to the Canvas course which I opened before. As a reminder, I got into this assignment. I'm going to click Submit Assignment, and we want to add those two files we just did. So that's down here where it says File Upload, choose File. I click Choose File. As a reminder, anything you download should go to your Downloads folder. So I'm going to click Downloads on the left. And here the two files are. So I'll click Portfolio, I'll click Open. I'm going to click Add Another File, and I'm going to click Choose File. The second one, of course. I'm going to click Google Apps Suite, click Open, then click Submit Assignment. And as a reminder, you can add any comments in if you had any comments for me. You had struggles with something, you weren't sure about something, you didn't like an instruction and need me to try to fix it, whatever. Feel free to do that. So go ahead and click Submit Assignment. And when the confetti comes in a moment, once this little circular part goes away, you see the confetti, it's like, yay, hooray, you've done it. And you're welcome to keep the Canvas course open, the tab open if you want. You can close it, but we should wait for it to give me the confirmation that it's submitted before we move on. So I will start the reading here, and this should actually say, because this is a template file, close the template when you're done. So this template one here, we can close. We're not going to go back to it. Okay. So formatting the Google Slides presentation. So we will be going back to the Google Slides one over here in just a moment to do some formatting. Now we've done formatting. There's the confetti, yay, with little pandas and everything. Freshness. So I'm going to close the Canvas tab just because I wanted you to practice getting to the Canvas website, and that's fine. Don't worry about it. I also did not mention before, if you ever need to go back to a particular slide, you can just click it on the left. Try to remember your slides a little bit. And what a lot of people like to do is click the first slide. But we'll get to that in the instructions if we need you on a particular slide. So formatting the Google Slides presentation. Formatting is basically what we've talked about in Google Docs and Google Sheets. It's making the text look different. Text color, bigger, smaller, changing fonts, all that kind of stuff. Line spacing, alignment if you like it more in the middle, bullets, all that kind of stuff. You will notice Google Slides is pretty minimalist, like I mentioned, because they don't even include bullets, which is kind of interesting. They figure it's too distracting to have to see dots or a symbol next to every paragraph that you have. It's less readable that way. I can go either way on it. I've seen a lot of people make Google Slides presentations where they add their bullets because they really like the bullets. So, without further ado, paint format, something you also learned about in the Google Docs, if you've done the Google Docs lessons with us, is you can copy formatting from one location to another. So you start with your cursor or a highlight on words that look the way you want. You click the paint format button, which is the paint roller icon, and you go drag over another word or words that need to look the same. Okay? Version history has to do with managing the version of the file, so you can look at it back in time, restore it to then if you need to. So it's like a gargantuan undo list. Remember, if you do restore a version, you can always get back to a version that was newer than the one you restored to because it never loses that. So no matter what, you can always get back to pretty much any version of your, in this case, presentation that you need to. So I'm going to go on now to Grow Your Skills 4.4. I will be changing that numbering, so don't worry about it significantly. Formatting and version history. Click the second slide, Google Apps. In the text box where it says Docs, Sheets, Slides, etc., click in there. It says click in there. Now click any, so what happens when you click once is you get a cursor. This is a really important concept. But if I point to the outer line and see the four-headed arrow, I click once, no more cursor, but the box is selected, means I'm formatting everything in that box. That's really magical, really, really cool, really, really important. That you click the outer line to make the whole box get selected. On the toolbar, click the line spacing button. So the line spacing button, I don't see it right now because I have to go to More. And the line spacing button is this one. Line spacing, that's the icon I showed there. And I want you to choose 1.5. See how it's spaced them out just a tiny bit more? Now step three is to click slide 3. How ironic. And it says, and click in the text box where it says an online word processing program, etc. And click the outer box again to make it solid. That's all in step 3. Step 4 says get to the line spacing button again. So I need to go to the 3 dots, line spacing, and choose double. I put 2.0 in there, but it should really be double. Repeat steps 3 and 4 for slides 3 through 8. So it should actually be the rest of them is 4 through 8. So I'm going to click slide 4, click here, click the border, go to the line spacing button again, double. And if this happens where it moves off the slide a little, just drag the box up a little bit, and then all the wording comes back on. I'm going to go to slide 5 now. Click in the text, click the border, click there, get to line spacing, double. 6, click here, click the outside border, go to the More button, line spacing, double. Just repeating the process here. I have one more slide to do. It's kind of hidden behind my picture, so I better move my picture. Click here, go to the More button, go to the line spacing button, choose double. So there we go. So now I'm on step number 6. Click slide 3 again, and click the text placeholder with the bulleted list with 2.0 line spacing. I'm sorry, where it says an online work, then double click the word documents in the second bullet, documents. On the toolbar, make it bold and underline. Now you're going to notice here that actually when you click bold, it makes it darker. When you click underline, whoops, underline was there. My eyes wandered slightly. There you go. You have underline on it. Step number 8, while the word documents is still selected or highlighted, on the toolbar, click the text color and choose a color of your liking. So text color is right next door to underline. It's the A with the black underline. Choose whatever color you like. Maybe you like the kind of this dark yellow today. If you don't like it, you can always go back to the text color and you can choose a different color. Maybe even like this. Well, you won't have that funky orange. Oh yeah, you will, because that's a theme color. The theme colors, they've added this recently, new theme colors, although some of them look pretty similar to these. So I'll just go ahead and choose that purplish looking one. Okay, so now that puts me on step number 9. I'm going to click slide 4, the Google Sheets slide. I'm going to click in this wording here. Step number 10, double click the word spreadsheets in the 3rd bullet. Do bold and underline, and then we're on the next step, which would be step 11, to choose a text color again. While the word documents, it should be spreadsheets. While spreadsheets is still selected or highlighted on the toolbar, click the text color and choose a color of your liking. It could be the same as the previous slide. You can choose a different color. Do what you like, as Digital Underground says. Okay, step number 12. We will copy the formatting from the word spreadsheets on slide 4 to the word presentations on slide 5. So this is a little bit tricky, so you have to be kind of slow and careful here. Using the Paint Format tool. Make sure the formatted word spreadsheets is selected on the toolbar, click Paint Format. So make sure spreadsheets is still highlighted, click Paint Format. Okay. Step 13, click slide 5 and click the word presentations in the 2nd bullet. See how they match now? Whoops, It's weird. It let me drag, which I didn't expect. And then we're going to do the similar thing to the word forms, or I'm sorry, step 14. Now we will copy the formatting from the word presentations on slide 5 to the word questionnaires on slide 6. Make sure the formatted word presentations is selected, so I can double click it, or I can leave the cursor in it. Click Paint Format. Step 15, click slide 6, and click the word questionnaires in the second bullet. There you go. Once again, it's highlighting, but that's okay, because it thinks you might want to drag over more. Okay. So, leave this word highlighted or clicked on. Step 16, on the toolbar, click Paint Format, and click Quizzes. And then click Paint Format again, and click Surveys. Whoops. Sorry, it's highlighting funny. I have to click Quizzes, I have to click Paint Format, I have to click Surveys. When it starts to drag on you like that, just click one more time. It might have been easier just to double click the word, but that's okay. Step number 17, we're going to do some formatting now on slide 7, the Gmail slide. So click slide 7, highlight the word email in the first line of the first bullet, so that double clicking it's the easy way, but if you like to drag over, some people prefer to drag, so just be sure. Do whatever's comfortable for you. Okay. Step 17A, click the text color and choose a color of your choice. On the toolbar, step B, choose highlight color. So you can click this icon next to it. The old days, my picture in there unfortunately, is the older version of Google Slides before they separated these two buttons. So the highlight color is this icon next to it, and choose whatever highlight color you like. It's going to shadow in front of your text color. So you can either have it kind of dark or light, whatever you like. So I made mine rather light. See how it kind of has a yellow on it? Now I can leave it highlighted the way they had it, the way I had it, and click bold for step C. And on the toolbar, make it size 24. So it's going to go really big. Now I could have clicked in this box and typed 24. I could click there and click it. Lots of different ways to do it. Step 18 says use Paint Format to copy the formatting from the word email on slide 7 to the words calendar and organizer on slide 8. So I'm going to leave this highlighted. I'm going to click Paint Format. I'm going to click slide 8. I'm going to click on double click the word calendar. I'm now going to click Paint Format. I'm going to double click the word organizer. Isn't that really cool how you can copy formatting from one slide to another? So now, that was step 18. Step 19, we're now going to do present. So once again, remember this goes full screen. I'm just going to quickly advance through the slideshow by clicking my mouse. And I'll be back in just a moment to where we can see both of these windows. So we click the present down arrow. I click present from beginning. I would be reading to my audience. I can click, here's my next slide. Here's some formatting, some formatting, some formatting, some formatting, formatting. Boom. To end the show, you press escape. Okay. So without further ado, we're now going to share the, we don't have to share this again because it's already shared, but we're going to play with version history. So we're going to click File, point to Version History, see Version History. So File, Version History, see Version History. It opens up a panel on the right again. Okay. Click on a version on the right. So an example is if I click this one here, you'll see before we did anything. To see more detailed revisions, step 24, click the little arrow next to one of these. So here's an arrow. See how I have every detailed revision? And if you click one of these, you can see a previous version of your presentation. And it shows you here one edit, which means if you go to this down arrow, it will show you what the edit is. If I click this up arrow, it doesn't have any more edits to go to. So it's like a huge undo list. And see, if I scroll this, I can go back to even before, maybe even before I finished all the slides. Yeah, right around here. See, I only have a couple of the slides. So that's how version history works. If you ever need to restore one of these, you click Restore. It gives you a warning. and then you go back out. If you come back in here, you can always get back to the newest. So I demonstrated that with the Google Docs because that's much more of a collaborative app than, say, Sheets and Slides, and that a lot of people do tend to do a lot of sharing and collaboration with each other in it. I don't ask you to do that, so I just ask you to click this little back arrow here according to step 25. Step 26 is about saving this again as a PowerPoint presentation to upload to the Canvas course. Now what's going to happen here is when it downloads again, it's going to get the same file name, so it usually puts a parenthesis after it with like a number 1 or something like that. So I'm going to do step 26, I'm going to click File, I'm going to do step 27, I'm going to point to Download, and I'm going to choose PowerPoint. Now, this one likely has a number 1 after it, you just can't see it yet. But if I point to it, it does have the parenthesis number 1. So you'll notice I tried to put in the instructions that you're going to upload to the Canvas course the one with parenthesis 1, because you don't oftentimes get to rename it as you're downloading it. I could have waited to the very end, but I wanted to give students an option just to repeat one part of what they did here if they needed to, not to have to do the whole thing. So it kind of gave me a little bit more flexibility, I thought, and I didn't want students to have to create the presentations from beginning to all the way end before they could submit it, just to show proof that they're getting their work going along the way. So I'm going to return to the Canvas course by clicking the plus. Remember the website's canvas.instructure.com. I should already be logged in, so it's okay, a little bit faster. So I'll leave this tab open next time for when we do the next parts of the lessons here, doing images and then animations. So I'll leave the Canvas course up and running. But I'm going to go to assignments again. Luckily, it stayed on show by type. Down here in the Google Slides, this is the formatting and version history exercise. So I click it. I click Submit Assignment. Under File Upload, I click Choose File. I give you a reminder here which file you should upload. It's the Google Apps Suite number 1. So I click Choose File. Make sure I'm in Downloads, Google Apps Suite 1. You could double it or you can click once. As a reminder, you can add any comments, click Submit Assignment. I can wait for the confetti, but just to, oh, it came relatively quick. So I'm going to go back to this tab to be ready to go on here in our book. Images and video, you can add images and video to your slides. Basically speaking, for video, the video generally wants to be at YouTube is kind of the easiest way to do it, but you can select the source, meaning if it's already on the web somewhere with a link, and I believe you might even be able to upload one, but usually it's easiest just if it's already at YouTube. Images, you can search the web, you can get them from your computer, CD-ROM, DVD, whatever, flash drive, you can upload them, or you could just search the web. So the way we're going to do it, I think we more or less are going to search the web, but we can also, because pictures are more prevalent in Google Slides, to get a better list of pictures or choices of pictures, which are sometimes more copyrighted, we're going to maybe copy and paste some in from another browser tab. So we'll show you a couple of ways to bring pictures in, because we're going to put a picture on here. Ready now to do Grow Your Skills 4.4 about adding images and video. We're going to give you a couple of processes here to add images. One is using a different tab, one is just using the Google Suite app, and then you'll add pictures to each slide. So we're just getting an overview about it now to add one in from the Google Slides. So step 1, Grow Your Skills 4.4, adding those images and video. Step 1, click the first slide. Make sure you're on the first slide. Click, this is part of step 1, Insert Picture icon on the toolbar. It's asking for the source, click Search the Web. Step number 2, it says in the search pane on the right, type Google Apps. So I've already seemed to have typed it, so it already says Google Apps. I can press Enter. It gives me some images that I can choose from. Remember, it's a scrollable list. So I'm going to click this one. That's step 3. Click on a picture you want to use and click Insert down here at the bottom. Another trick is you can sometimes drag them from here in. So I'm going to click Insert. And sometimes they come in really big or small, as you can see. So step 4 talks about sizing. If you point to one of these blue squares, preferably a corner, double-headed arrow, you can drag in or out to make it bigger or smaller. So I like mine a bit smaller. In fact, I don't mind it being too small. Now to move the image, step 5, you point to the middle of the image, drag it where you want it. And they now give you these kind of red lines that sometimes help you realize the bottom portion of this text lines up with your picture there. So they give you a little bit of guides as you start to drag it around now. So leave it wherever you want to leave it. That's your choice, but try not to block any text. Now we're going to actually use the search the web to get some pictures ourselves. So what we're going to do now is it says click slide 2. So you want to make sure you're on slide 2. At the top of the browser, click the new tab button. So now click new tab. Now it says in step number 7 you should have a cursor in the address bar, which we do. Type Google Apps and press enter. Step number 8 says click images. So up here, click images. And then step 9, find a suitable image and right click it and choose copy image. So I think I'll just use this one here. I'm going to choose copy image. Step 10, click back on the Google Suite presentation, Google Apps Suite presentation tab. Right click and choose paste. So I can kind of point here, right click and choose paste. And here's my graphic. So it's up to you now to drag it wherever you want it, make it bigger, smaller, whatever works for you. I leave that up to you because every image or graphic will vary on how big it comes in. Step 13 basically says repeat those few steps we just did, essentially speaking, to bring in pictures to each slide, the Google Docs, the Google Sheets, and basically the search words Google Docs, Sheets, Slides, whatever, to get images on every single slide. So I'm going to click slide 3, Google Docs. I prefer to get them from the tab on the web, so I'm going to click the tab here. I'm going to change the search wording here because I'm doing Google Docs now. So I just add the word Docs. Here's a nice logo I wouldn't mind using. So I'm going to right click it, copy image, go back to my Google Apps Suite tab, right click and paste, Command V, whatever way works for you. Reminder, you can drag it bigger or smaller, whatever works for you. I'm going to repeat this process for a bunch more slides. I'm going to click slide 4. I'm going to go up here to my other tab. I'm going to change the search wording to Sheets. I'm going to bring in this one. Copy image, I right-clicked it. Go back to this tab, right-click, paste. Put this graphic where I like it, where it's not blocking anything, maybe a little bit smaller. Actually, I kind of like it down there. Go to the next one. I'll try this method just to see what it does as a reminder to remind you how to do it. If I click Insert Image, search the web, change this to Google Slides. This one's okay. So I'll click it and click Insert. Drag it over here. Maybe make it a hair bigger. Now I'm going to go to Forms. I'm going to go back to the Google Sheets here. Change this to Forms. So I just want to demonstrate both ways for you. Help you out there. It is this purple one. Copy image. Okay, I got 2 more slides. Actually 3, because you could even put one on the last slide if you want. This one happens to be Gmail, also called Gmail. Freshness. So I'm just repeating the process to get a picture on every slide. Okay. And the last slide, any questions? Sometimes it's fun if you go to the web tab here and you type any questions. You get some fun-looking graphics that some people like to use, especially if you scroll around. I actually kind of like this one, but yeah. I'm going to do this one. And I told you to right-click paste. You could also use your keyboard method if you're familiar with it. Okay, so I've added pictures to every single one of these. Now we're going to add in a little video. Step number 14, click slide 2. the Google Apps slide and click the Insert menu and choose Video. So I'm going to move this a little bit out of the way. So Insert, and we're going to choose Video. Type Google Apps in the search box. So as you can see, when it comes to a video, you could really search YouTube, or if you have a web address or anything already in your Google Drive. I'm going to type Google Apps, because those are the search words, and press Enter. Here's an introduction to G Suite Google Apps. Hey, that looks like the one I made. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't make that one. So I'm going to go ahead and click this one. You can choose any one you want. And then is my picture blocking it? I'm going to click Select. And here's the video. Okay. So once again, I can size it like a picture. I can put it here. In fact, since it's the same logo, I might as well delete this logo. So if you ever want to delete a picture, you can click on it and press Delete. That's a nice, easy thing to do. So once again, I can size that. It is a YouTube video in this particular case. They give me some video playback options. I'm not going to worry about those right now. So now I'm going to go ahead and, like a video, you can size it, you can move it, whatever. Same as the image. Now I'm going to present real quick. I'm going to start the video briefly just to show you how to do it. But remember, to advance slides, you just press your right arrow key, your down arrow key, click your mouse to go backwards, left arrow or up arrow key. So to present, step 17, I click the down arrow here, present from beginning. There's my nice graphic. It's starting to look like a better presentation now, isn't it? Here's my video. I can click play. It starts it. Of course, it might have a little ad. Oh, it doesn't. Good. So it's showing the video. I can pause it. I can talk to my group. I can restart it. To get to my next slide, I just click somewhere away from there. Then I'm on my next slide, next slide, etc. Remember, to end your presentation, press Escape. Okay? So we just did that. Now we're going to once again save it as a PowerPoint file to upload to the Canvas course, because I have some students who only do Canvas. So it's the same process. Step 19, click File, point to Download. That's step 20. And part of step 20 says choose PowerPoint, Microsoft PowerPoint. Now this is likely going to have a Google Suite with a parenthesis number 2, which it does. Don't worry about it. I kind of expected it, tried to write it in the instructions for you. Now I can go back to my Canvas course, this other tab I left open. I'm going to click Assignments on the left, scroll down in my Google Slides area. This is the Adding Images and Video. Click Submit Assignment, click Choose File. I have to click Downloads again for some reason. And I'm going to click this one with the parenthesis 2. And when it puts parentheses there, it just recognizes it already has a file with the same name. I can add any comments if I need to, confirm the file name here, click Submit Assignment. This one might take a tiny bit longer to get to my confetti freshness, but I'm already there. So once again, I'm going to keep this tab open. I'm going to go back to my presentation here. We're getting near the tail end, but the fun stuff here, we're going to do what's called transitions and animation. Transitions and animation make the presentation more dynamic and exciting by adding movement between slides or for objects on slides. Transitions are an effect that happens when you move from one slide to the next slide. Animations are an effect that happens on the individual objects on the slide. Ironically, Google Slides has one panel called the Animations panel, but in it you can control the transition as well as the animation for individual objects on slides. Thus, you can have text or an image appear in a special way when you choose Transitions or Animations. A panel opens on the right. There's a couple of options related to transitions and animations that you may need to spend some time practicing. The options for transitions are speed, how fast or slow you want it to go, and if you want it to animate automatically, meaning you don't want to have to click the mouse button every time to make some type of animation occur. So it kind of self-runs itself. Okay? So be careful with transitions and animations so they don't take away from the content of your presentation. So we're going to do some of this now. I'm going to do step number 1, make sure you're on the first slide. So often when you end your presentation and press Escape, it drops you on the slide you ended on. So it says on the toolbar, click Transition. So right up here on the toolbar, click Transition. If for some reason you don't see that, you can always go to, I believe it's Slide. Nope, I forgot. It's under Insert, and it's animation. It's down there. But you have to kind of click on a slide. That's if you don't see the transition button. That means you're clicked in a box here, that's why. So click transition, and it opens this panel over here. Step 2, in the animations pane on the right, click where it says no transition. Here, none. They changed the wording recently. It used to actually be no transition. And I ask you to choose one that you want to try. I kind of like cube and gallery. Those are two that are kind of more on the fancy side of things. Dissolve and fade are some of my favorites because they're a little more simple. But I'm going to go ahead and choose cube because a lot of people like to see it. Okay. Step 3 says click apply to all slides. So I'm going to click apply to all slides, and it adds this interesting icon over here on the left next to each number of your slide, showing you that you now have a transition. So I want you to see what that looks like when you actually present. Although you can play it here to see it as a preview, I just want you to practice how do you present to the real audience. So as a reminder, step number 4, I click the present down arrow, I click present from beginning, click my mouse, there's the transition, click my mouse, that's the transition. So I'm going to end the slideshow now with escape. I don't need to go through the whole presentation. Okay. So step number 6, we're now going to do animations to the individual slides. So transitions is between when you go from slide 1 to slide 2, what happens. The other types of animations are what happens on the slide itself to the objects on the slide. So step 6 says click slide 2. Click in the box with the words docs, sheets, etc. This box here. All you need is a cursor in there. And in the in this box over here, they're now calling it the motion box. They used to call it the animation box, but now it's that. Because I've clicked in here, I'm going to click add animation. Step number 7, click where it says fade in, here where it says fade in, and choose an animation of your liking. Now be careful, some of these make the wording leave the slide, such as disappear or something that says the word out. You don't want those right now. Let's do the ones that come in. I kind of like the fly-ins, so I'm going to choose fly in from bottom. That's one of my favorites. Okay, so now step 8 says click play in the animation pane. So right here I click play to preview it. Watch what happens. So now why don't I see any text yet? Because I have to click my mouse. See, it says here click slide or press your mouse. Just like if you were really presenting now, you'd have to click your mouse once. Now that whole block of text came in. Okay? So step 9 says click your mouse to preview that animation. Step 10 says to click stop. You have to click the stop so you can go back and edit. I just want to show you step 11. Feel free to alter or change the animation by clicking the name of the animation here where it says fly in and change it. Okay. Now click on the image on the slide. So in this case it's the video. It can still animate. And click, oh, it won't let me animate the video. Sorry, because I didn't leave my picture on here. It won't let me animate it. So without further ado, I'll click slide 3 and show you on this one. I'll click the picture here. I'll click add animation. Click where it says fade in and choose an option of what I want it to do. Sometimes the spins are cool, but I kind of like zoom in. Step number 13, click where it says fade in and choose one. Step 14, click where it says on click here and choose after previous. That's going to make it come in all by itself. I'm going to make this text animate as well, and I'm going to show you a trick here. I'm going to click here in this text. I'm going to choose add animation. I'm going to choose fly in from the bottom, just like I did before. But I want this animation to happen before the picture, so I'm going to drag it above. So my text. So this is what my slide 2 would have looked like had I not left just a video there. Go. Okay. So now I can do step number 15, where I can click play. You'll notice it comes to the slide. I have to click to get my text, but the picture came in all by itself. Isn't that really cool? That's what the after previous does. It makes the image appear automatically. Okay. So step 17, I still have to click stop to stop the previewing of what the animations look like. And I didn't really show you too much yet, but we're getting to it, about how you can make maybe these come in one by one, like as a paragraph. Instead of one paragraph, each paragraph separately. Okay. So step number 19, let's change the box with the words to animate. This is, in this case for me, it's this slide here. I just click back in there. And it reminds me what animation it's using by highlighting it here in this kind of lightish blue color. And I click it. And step 20, it opens the options, and I can click by paragraph. Now click play and watch the difference. Click one time, one paragraph comes in. Click again, another paragraph. Click again, another for each click. And then eventually the picture comes in all by itself without a click. So I'm going to click stop. I have a few more steps here for you before I kind of have you, you can do as much animations and stuff on your own at some point in time. So here it says in step 24, click slide 3 Google Docs. Well, I'm going to do it on the Google Sheets slide here, just because I know that I don't have any animations on it yet. You click in the wording that you want to animate first. That's step 25. Step 26 is to click Add Animation. Select, and click where it says Fade In and choose whichever one you want. I'm going to choose Fly In from Bottom. I like consistency, so I usually do each slide the same way. Okay? And then step 28, choose the options after previous and by paragraph. So here, where it says On Click, choose After Previous and click By Paragraph. Okay? Step 33, now animate the remaining slides choosing any options that you desire. So I'm going to quickly do that. I'm going to go to slide 5, click in the wording, click Add Animation. I'm going to leave it on Fade In, but I'm going to choose After Previous so it comes in by itself. I'm going to choose as one block is fine. I'm going to click the graphic. I'm going to choose Add Animation. I'm going to click where it says Fade In. I'm going to choose Zoom In. And I'm going to make this automatic again by choosing After Previous. Where I'm clicking where it says On Click, I choose After Previous. I'm going to do one more slide, or actually I have a couple more slides. They won't take long. Add Animation. I'll just quickly do them. I like things automatic. Just when I play in a class like this. When I present in real life, I couldn't do it automatic. Or I could, but not by paragraph. It would just, that's not my style of presenting. So we're once again, reminder After Previous where it says On Click. Now what I didn't have people do is if your animations are too fast, you can slow them down a little bit. I'm going to click on Gmail here. And I'm going to do something just as a reminder of something I showed you a moment ago. Say I want the picture to come in before the text. I can click the picture first, add my animation. I'm going to choose After Previous. Click my wording now, add my animation. Whoops, I don't want out. I want in. Oh, I might have done that before. I might have chosen an out graphic. So we'll see it when I present. In that way, you'll learn why the out ones aren't as good, because they happen to disappear. And I can even choose with previous if I want two things to come in together. So I'll show you that to you on the next slide, just to teach you a couple of the different options that I didn't put you in the book to have you do specifically. So I'm going to click this wording, add animation. I'm going to click here and I'm going to choose Fly In from Bottom. I'm going to choose After Previous because I want the wording to come in by itself, no click. I click the graphic, click it. I like my zoom, so I'm going to go back to Zoom In. I'm going to choose With Previous. They're going to come in together. Now I'm not previewing each time. I would recommend you preview each time so you see how your slide's reacting. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to run through my presentation. So that's step 34 here. I'm going to click the down arrow, Present from Beginning. I'm just going to run through it so you can see everything. Click once. Click once again. See how it came in all by itself? I'm not as one block when I clicked it. Now this slide, I have to click once. One wording comes in, another wording. Now you wouldn't mix up all your animations this way unless it works on that slide. You have to be careful. See, the picture came in all by itself, no click needed. Here, this one, it comes in all by itself. My hands are in the air. You can see I'm not doing anything. See that? And I didn't animate the picture, which is okay. Here, see, came in all by itself. Here, see, I did an out effect. You see that? So it left the slide. It's kind of funny. And then here, the picture, then the text second. So you could do them any way you want. And then this one, they kind of come in together. See that? So it depends how you want to make your presentation work. I'm going to press escape. We're on a couple of the final steps here. I'm going to close this motion panel, they call it now. It used to be called the animation pane, but now they call it the motion panel. And we're on the step to download it as to PowerPoint and then to upload it to Canvas. So step 37, I click File. Step 38, I point to Download and I choose PowerPoint. Now remember, this is going to get a parenthesis with a number, likely number 3, which is okay. I return to my Canvas tab, step 39. Click Assignments. I can do it here or here. Remember, this is similar to Google Drive, right? It's showing you the path. If I click Assignments here, hey, isn't that awesome? I can go here to my Adding Transitions and Animations assignment. Click Submit Assignment. Down here where it says File Upload, I click Choose File. Hopefully it's still in downloads, which it is, and I asked you to do the Google Apps Suite 3. It's likely going to be the one with the newest, highest number, because we're on the last one here. I click Open. It shows it here. I click Submit Assignment. I can wait for the confetti, but I'm not going to really do that. Oh, it came already. Click here on the Google Apps Suite.